you're probably the first founder that I talked to that actually started their company when they were in high school.
Yes.
So why don't why don't you share with the audience a little bit about your journey? How did you start? What is Singers Company, and how did you start this in high school? What's this all about?
Okay, buckle up.
Here we go. Let's do this.
Okay. A Singers Company is a non-competitive performing group for young girls, like elementary age. We do dip into like the 3-year-olds, but that's optional for our franchisees. But anyway, and it's all about strengthening their confidence. So the tools we use are music and dance, and that's what you'll see the girls do is sing and dance. But what our directors and franchise owners are doing during the class time are just very specific in helping these girls feel strong and want to and be comfortable singing in front of hundreds of people and speaking in front of their friends. So that's Singers Company. How that started was growing up, I love musical dance theater. I sang and danced like my whole life. And my parents saw that like little talent and desire in me. And so they fueled that. And in my family, we had to earn money, our own tuition for college. So that's kind of what my parents did. My dad was an attorney, but he just felt it really strongly that we needed to kind of make our own way, which I'm so grateful for, because I think because of that is probably why I had the guts to do, what I'm doing now. But anyway, so I watched my older brothers and sisters. I come from a family of 7. I'm number 5. I kind of had to figure things out because our family was super busy. So I kind of taught myself like how to braid my own hair, so I was kind of that personality where, oh, wait, I'm not going to wait for it if I could figure out how to do it myself, So I watched my older brothers and sisters. They would give up their entire summers, to work a full-time job so that they could earn their tuition for college. And I had stuff I wanted to do in the summer. And so I kind of was torn. I'm like, and my parents didn't let us have jobs during the school year because we needed to focus on school and our studies. But then I was kind of talking to my mom about this, I want, here's my dilemma. And she did similar things with us. There's a lot of girls in my family, and we lived in a small town. I grew up in Merced, California. It's a little agricultural town, and there wasn't a lot offered. And so my mom did these, she was very musical. So she would get groups of girls in the community together and sing and teach them a song. And we'd go perform it around Christmas time. And I loved it. Obviously I was a performer. I performed in our community theaters. I took voice lessons. I just was really into that world. And in high school, I was my sophomore year, and I was kind of approaching my mom, like, I'm just not looking forward to not being able to go to, see my cousins in the summer because I have to, earn money. And my mom just said, hey, what if you did, what if you did something like that, but for younger girls? It's only one day a week. So Dad and I will let you have that type of job because it's such minimal time. It doesn't take that, away. And so I did. I started it before I drove, because the first group I had and taught, it was before I could drive a car. So I think I was 15. It was my sophomore year in 1993. And so I would have a group of girls come to my house, and I put my own little show together, teach it to them. And then we would go perform around the community, kind of like my mom did with us, but I would charge for it. And I earned a great little chunk of change through the whole school year. And then I came up with, in the summer, okay, what if I did a summer camp and I squeezed it all into a week, and I had how many kids participate? And so I kind of started to create a little name for myself, and I named it Singers Company. And I would do summer camps and earn thousands of dollars. And I funded my college. I funded my study abroads. And the beauty of Singers Company, even now, is the minimal time for the maximum amount you're earning. So that was my sophomore year. Then I was able to drive. So I didn't do it at my house anymore. I rented a space in the community, and I was able to grow my group a little bit there.
How old were you? And how old are you around this time?
16. And then, yeah. And then, so that was my junior and senior year. I was kind of, I rented a space, and I ran it there. And then I went to college, and I missed the girls. I missed working with the girls because I love the growth you see. And it was just so fulfilling what I was doing. I missed terribly the income because it was such a nice chunk of change for minimal time. And it was just easy for me to do because it was, who I was and in my blood. So I started one in college, there in that town. And
Where was this?
I went to Brigham Young University. So I started one in Provo, and I did it for 4 years. And then I got married and I graduated in public relations, and I worked with one of the top firms in Salt Lake City for a couple of years. And so we moved to Salt Lake, but it was such a good chunk of change, and I could do it in my sleep. I just kept my group in Provo. So I would, and my employer was so awesome. Like they loved me and I loved them, and they would just let me, I would just check out about 3:30 on Monday afternoons, drive to Provo, teach my singers company, come back. And really the feedback over the years, I think it was in Provo and with that group that I knew the impact. Like, I loved the money. I loved the girls. I loved what I was doing. It was great for me. But I think, and I know that a couple of my specific experiences with certain girls in that Provo group really showed me, and had my heart just like knew, like, there's something more to this. What this is doing for these girls and these parents of these girls, they're seeing the strength that comes from this program. They're seeing their daughter's confidence grow. You hand me the shyest girl, and I can totally help that girl, like this program. And so there were a couple moments that I realized, oh, wait, this isn't about me, even though it's very beneficial to my life and for multiple reasons. Look at what it's doing. And that's when the seeds of, okay, this is something bigger started to happen. But I wasn't totally clued into the business side. I was just here feeling it in my heart, the mission of what I was doing and the impact. So then we moved I had my first little baby, my daughter, and we moved to Irvine. And I just love being a mom. And they wanted me to stay on at our PR firm, even with moving to California. They're like, it's okay. You can just call, we'll just like be on conference calls once a week. You can still keep your clients. And as soon as I held my baby, I was like, I don't want to, I just want to be a mom. And we moved to Irvine, and then I started to miss those little girls and the impact and like the community and the families I got to know. And it's just, Singers Company is so easy to do. Especially for me, like, just because I'd done it for so long, obviously, that I just started another one in Irvine, and that one filled up so fast because it was just something that was needed, and it grew and grew. We were only there 2 years, and I couldn't grow fast enough, but I didn't want to grow anymore because I was growing my own little family. So we moved about 15 miles away from Irvine to where I am now, Ladera Ranch. And I had people traveling to me to stay in this, and because I started one in Ladera too. And then it just kept, and within these years, this is when people started to approach me. You need to franchise this. And I would be like, no, la. I don't want to. I love what I have. I just want to be a mom. I'm not looking to work corporate world. I kind of did that. I knew I had to get it out of my system. I knew I'd be good at it. It was great, but I just love being a mom, and I know I can't do all of that. And so just fast forward to 2008, I'm still in Ladera. The groups are growing. The feedback is amazing. Parents, the growth in the girls. I really honed in everything about my show. I was starting to kind of repeat the shows. Just because I had just fine-tuned how I did it, what I focused on, what I didn't, all the, And so 2008, people were, and I just it kept coming to my mind, like franchising. And I've kept thinking about how to do it. And my husband, he went to school for graphic design and had his own marketing branding firm. So we kind of it worked hand in hand. So he always did my logos and, all my marketing materials and flyers. And so the market, we bought a new house, we built a new house, we moved in, and the market just,
this is 2008.
2008. And I remember just in my heart, I'm like, we would have never bought this house had we known, because my husband's company, clients just kind of went away because everything was kind of in turmoil. And I remember thinking, what are our options? And I was like, well, we'll just sell. And then I was like, I just knew we shouldn't. I knew this is where we wanted to put our roots down deep with our family. And I just, in my heart, I'm like, no, we're supposed to be here. like, but what are our options? And I had these conversations about franchising with some, just some family members that are really in the corporate business world and finance world. And they were always like, you have to. And I'm like, no, by this time I have 4 babies, I have 4 little kids.
Wow.
And so I was just like, they are my, like, they need me. They're my life.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for more. And then I was at the table. I shared this a little bit with you in the previous call, but we're just sitting at my kitchen table, and my father-in-law was there, and we were kind of discussing. I had just gotten home from Singer's Company that day and had a great time. I'll get emotional. I had just such a, it's just so fun. It's such a high. It's only 2 hours of my week, but I teach the girls. I come home, we have dinner, and I'm just sitting at the table. And while we're talking about potentially franchising it, and I'm just in my mind, I'm just so resistant because I'm a mother first. I will always be a mother first. And then I just get this text from a mom of one of the girls in my group who just really struggled. She was a 5th grader, and she just really struggled with friends, with just her self-confidence. And she was super, super shy. She got emotional coming to class. It was hard for her to leave her mom. And she was doing awesome. And she was singing solos, and she was just engaging in the group. And this mom it was just a text, and I had gotten lots of them. I've gotten plenty of those. But in that moment, at that time, sitting at my table, discussing franchising, in the middle of the discussion, me being resistant, not wanting to, but in the middle of the discussion, getting that text, I just knew. I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yes.
Like, all of my talents, all of my experience is coming to this moment where, why would I withhold that from wonderful women out there who could do the same thing I'm doing for these sweet girls that need it so badly? And I just knew, like, it didn't matter what time it took. It didn't matter the cost. That was my mission. A mom first, but in a way, this is being a mother to so many. And so it was 2008, 2009, and we started the ball rolling. I had to do a lot of homework, a lot of research. I live in California. If you start a franchise in California, it's almost impossible. They make it very difficult.
They sure do. California, you make it interesting for everybody.
So we have property in Utah, and so we were able to make it a Utah company. And we were able to, and there's just so many amazing things along the way. The amount that it would have, like, the amount that the attorneys, when I did my research for franchise attorneys, and I got amounts back of what it would cost to get us up and running. Like, California's was crazy. And then I go and I'm like, okay, we'll be a Utah company, because we definitely have, connections there. And so we get that going. I reach out to our current attorneys, which I love. They're amazing. And their amount they gave me was almost to the cent how much we had saved for our kids' college so far.
Oh my God.
And that was just a little sign that I needed. Like, I have this, I can do this. We didn't end up having to use all of it, thank goodness, but I knew we could. And we took, and my dad, I love him dearly. He's not a risk taker. You go to people you love and know and trust, and you run the idea by him. And my dad was kind of like, don't do it. As soon as he was kind of like, he didn't say don't do it, because my dad would never do that. He wants us, but he was kind of like hinting. And I remember in my heart when he was hinting, I'm like, I already knew I was going to do it. Like, I knew I needed to do it. So we did it. 2011, June, we became an official franchise. And I think we sold 8 that first summer.
Wow.
And yeah. And I didn't know. My biggest thing was, I know that this system works, but how do I replicate myself?
Yes. That is the challenge for us, because now you're in the franchising business. We're no longer in the music and dance business. Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fumey, or Emerging Franchise Group LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.